We are back at it again, and we are getting back into Direwolves and Mirage. I'm particularly excited for this game because for both teams, it's a big breakout game. It's a tough group with Wolves and FaZe. Both of these teams have already copped Ls to those guys. And so this is really where they have a chance to prove that they might actually have a shot at making playoffs. Of course, we do have a double round robin, so they can go and rematch FaZe and Wolves and beat them later. But I feel like ending day one, 0-2, it's not it.
No, that is not what any of these teams want to end up as. Both of them, this is their best chance. Both of them very similar in progression, in experience, and they've got to show up in the server. And it's in Theme Park of all the maps to go to. Pretty unique one.
Yeah, I'm super keen because we did get a little bit of a tease of the operators that were picked on the defensive side, and to me, a bit unusual, bit of roam game, bit of Oryx, bit of Legion, bit of fun stuff. So I'm keen to see what Mirage have to show for us. Also, I've never casted Mirage before. A lot of these other NA teams that come back to events, you feel familiar with them. To me, Mirage, yeah, they've been around for a hot minute. They've been around for quite a while now, but this is their first ever time on the international stage. And to be honest, they have been consistently the worst team in North America for quite some time, up until just the last couple of months.
Pretty excited for them, though. It's good. It's good to see them here on this international stage. I think the improvement that they've had over the past two or three stages has been pretty exciting to watch following the NAL. For us in Australia, the NAL time is at like the worst time zone ever. We are asleep. It starts at like 6 or 7 in the morning or something like that.
If you get up at a respectable time in the morning, you usually get to catch the end of it. But
that's right.
If you're like staying up late and you're like, oh, NAL starts in a few hours, don't even think about trying to stay awake for it because it will be so cooked. And so, yeah, as a result, I think I've only watched like 1 or 2 NL matches live this season, if that, to be honest.
Well, I've done my fair amount of VOD reviews on these Mirage guys, and I think they can absolutely take it, especially against the Direwolves, I think.
Is Edie having a nap? He gets caught on camera. Caught in 4K, mate. Put that chair back up. Look alive. You're about to get into the server.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was just saying, I think Mirage, after VOD reviewing how they've done in Stage 3, I think the way they've changed their roster and the team dynamic is definitely something that it has brought them to this major, their new pickups and the way they've had to shuffle around the roles a little bit to make it work. I think it's injected this like sort of new life into them, just a different way of approaching and playing the game. And I hope that it works on this international stage as well. I think if there's any map to take it to, Theme Park, they had pretty dominant 3 games on it right at the beginning. Well, one of them was a loss, but 2 of them were wins. And it's against...
All 3 of them were against good teams.
All 3 of them, exactly. All 3 of them were pretty big results, right? And so I think that taking them to this map is pretty dangerous, I think, for the Direwolves, especially them being unknown territory. But I'd like to see Mirage have a crack at this. I think that this is a very good proving grounds for them, especially after such a close series earlier against the Wolves. If there's any time to retake their title and actually gain all 3 points, this is the one.
Yeah, well, Mirage will be pretty cut about that loss to Wolves because they did have match point first. They could have locked it out for full 3 points, but when it slipped to overtime and they lost, they only get the 1. And what you were saying about Theme Park, if you want to add to that, Mirage do start on the defense as well, which to many people is going to be much more comfy on Theme. In fact, a lot of the reason why you don't usually see Theme in BO1s is because it's pretty one-sided, and so teams don't really want to allow their opponent to get the upper hand. And because if there's only 2 maps left in the pool and, like, let's say Direwolves is banning and they get the last ban, that means that the opposing team, Mirage, will get to pick sides. And so if you're Direwolves, you don't really want to let a map through that the opponent is going to pick a really dominant side on. So we don't often see it for that reason. And we actually haven't seen it at all from Direwolves and APAC South in the last stage at all. They played it once in the Operation League and beat Elevate, but to be honest, it's hard to read too much into that when it is a national league and trying to extrapolate those results to here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for the Direwolves, heading into unknown territory, it can be good, it can be bad, especially going into these majors, right? In one way, you go, okay, they don't have VODs on our particular map because we haven't played it yet. On the other hand, it's uncharted territory as well because they've only played it and trialed it in scrims. And so how is that actually fair in an official setting against international teams? I don't know. Scrim results cannot tell you everything, right? They allow you to test things, but as soon as you get into the official match, it really shows just the success of what's going on, right? Because the environment's not quite the same. So yeah, I think dangerous pick for Direwolves. Mirage definitely have played this veto a lot safer than the Direwolves have, but of course showing your hand on this first day coming to the major could be really exciting too. There's definitely benefits of not having VODs out there.
Yeah. What is this Odin drawing? What's he writing? I honestly cannot see. Now that screen. No, it's ED writing, and I couldn't tell you. That screen is way too small. Have you got any clue?
I have absolutely no idea. Okay,
come on, ED.
Okay.
Get it in focus. Is he playing? Oh my God! Come on, ED. Show us again.
Is he playing like noughts and crosses?
I thought he was playing noughts and crosses.
What's going on? He's playing noughts and crosses against himself?
Good, well played, man. Well played, I guess. Got to kill time somehow, I guess, ED. Oh, I will say, ED is very chill. If you've watched any of the APAC South interviews, you will be very familiar with this man. Yeah, he's chill. He's a lad.
Yeah, I reckon, I don't know if chill is the right word for it though. Every time he gets onto an interview, he's so excited that even Rob, who's our host of the show, gets like, oh my gosh, he gets outdone in the energy by ED.
Yeah. ED is easily a fan favorite and one of our favorites to interview. He's quite a character, quite a personality. Despite English not being his first language, he's an absolute cracker and he really does bring that energy. I'm keen to see Divals bring that same energy here to a major, though we haven't quite seen that as of yet. It was not an easy game against FaZe earlier today. It wasn't an easy map either. That was Skyscraper, and I believe, if I recall correctly, they started attack on that, and they found very little success. They got 7-1, right? They won one attack round, and that was all, and then ended up losing 2 defenses in a row. Direwolves going from Skyscraper in their previous game over now to Theme Park. A lot of people say quite similar maps.
Yeah?
I think they have similarities.
In some ways, yeah.
I think
you're not wrong.
Yeah, I think you got the 2 floors on both maps, both of which are fairly linear and have a lot of chokes, and you have a lot of like Hell in a Cell positions.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, and the entry is quite challenging.
Yes, getting in the map in the first place is quite challenging.
Entry is quite challenging, even if you go from cache side, getting into cache can be quite tricky, especially with those like hallway angles or someone playing Top Dragon. Getting into cafe is always very challenging because getting through that double door is very frustrating. Kind of thing. Once you get into the actual map.
What did Reaps write?
Oh no, here we go.
Well, they're actually standing up and walking around now. Here we go. Oh! Poor ED. Oh well, thumbs up. He gave it a crack.
He did give it a go. He did give it his best go.
Come on, Odin. Give it a shot.
Go on, Odin. Go again.
Come on.
Go again.
You can't tempt us like that.
Oh, no!
Oh, you just got sassed, mate. You just got sassed. He says, look, you're the coach. Just sit back down, mate. I would tell you.
So funny.
He's a bit of a character. He is a bit of a character.
That is such an ED thing to do as well. So the players, I was chatting to them yesterday, right? Because they were doing the media and they were running around the studio, just kind of go, yeah. They really put down their coach. It is so funny. It is so funny the way they interact with their coach because they never see each other in person, right? Odin lives in South Africa. It's hilarious. Anyway, sorry. What's going on?
What's going on is I'm afraid we're actually going to toss over to Stream A. You can see on screen, it's actually Wolves versus FaZe. 2 incredibly strong teams in this group are going head-to-head on Clubhouse. So go and enjoy that game, and we'll be back for the rest of the B stream games later.
Grenades to enable those executes on this gym attack.
All right, upstairs to Jim. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard from Stream B. Nice to have you here. Apparently the game on Stream B is either delayed or not ready at the moment, so we are welcoming them over.
I was trying to think if they somehow finished the game. I was like, how is that possible? I mean, we're in round number 2, like, there's no way. That makes more sense.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard. We're happy to have you over here. And we are also better than the people who were casting over there, which I think was Happen Fluke. I could be wrong. It might be, it might be Mandy and Deb, in which case
it's not Happen Fluke.
I really wanted to make fun of both Hap and Fluke.
Happen Fluke
because it's Hap's country that lost my. It was Hap's country that lost my luggage, and I will never forget.
Oh, I see. Okay? It's personal now.
It's absolutely it is.
Mowgli on the main stairs getting aggressive, had an altercation on the main stairs chain position outside, but both escape with full HP. Soul's getting that single wall to construction opened up with the EMP to follow along. EMP economy playing around with the mute here from Mowgli. All 3 EMPs have been spent. While in one way it's bad not to have more EMPs, it enables Astro now to be a free roaming gun on this map. He can take more risks now, become an entry player, because he is quite literally a walking gun. That's it. No more real utility. That enables Cameraman to take the supportive work and enable himself as a Ying for when the execute is ready. That's stage 3 of the round. Right now, we're still figuring out exactly how to approach this. Aggressive swing from Wolves. It gets... Oh, it works out. I was afraid it was going to get punished for a second, but Mowgli finds the kill to Cyber instead. It's 5v4. Candelas are coming out. Any second now, Cyber. Or Cameraman, sorry.
Shinka's just watching this hatch. Cameraman looking left and right. Ideally getting some information. Shinka still very patient. Down goes Souls. Wolves starting off quite well here on defense. That's your hard breacher gone as well. Has Jacuzzi been opened up? That is the question that needs to be answered.
Yes.
Yes, it has. There's still secondary hard breach as well in the hands of Cameraman, so you've got some insurance.
The patience from Cameraman, he still has that Candela in his hand. Here we go.
And there go Candelas. Dropping on in, slaughtered by Bibu. Wolves answering this perfectly. FaZe not able to get a single thing done. It's followed up on by Astro. That is really, really rough. Bullet's last one left. Flawless round for Wolves.
I would like to believe that this is what happens when a structured playstyle team meets a very arguably overly aggressive team. Because you're trying to do the steps 1, 2, 3. Get Jacuzzi breach, start droning, play it pass, Mowgli Pichu, gets 1 kill. Then second guy drops on gym window, has a passive angle, Mowgli swings again shotgun, dead, 2 kills. Gets the third before that happened as well. It's just like you're trying as FaZe to play this really logical, sensible, you know, step-by-step play, and then Wolves just says no every single time. We saw it. Cameraman on the office hatch was ready to execute for a full minute straight, but in the midst of all of him being ready, other people are just falling apart. They had to replace those positions every single time, and they never got a stable foothold to go for it. And then when Cameraman was finally able to go, he drops, he immediately dies because his position wasn't covered because of that rotation. So Wolves, they're up 2-0. They had a slow start against Mirage, but they have a great start against FaZe. Double fist pumps going out as well.
By the way, this is a technical pause, not a tactical timeout. So, okay.
So, okay.
Okay, Lilu. Liloon.
Liloon?
Liloon. Some technical issues have befallen these teams. We're not sure what, but this is not a proper timeout, so the coaches are not able to speak with them.
That is correct. Wolves, they went the basement into gym. Obviously won both. They arguably found opening kill on both, a trade in that first round at least. Third bomb side rotation, I am going to assume it's going to be a bar, just given the fact that Bandit makes, I would say, no sense to go CCTV at all in this matchup, because that is like the operator that you would need unless you got a different kind of pocket strat available to you. But Mirror's also banned. That kind of removes some of the pocket strats that are available. You can play the Mirrors in Lounge or the Castle Barricade, extend below. All those options are gone with those 2 operator bans. FaZe Clan might just need to get more aggressive and play more explosive. I think they had a good kind of handle on it in that opening round. They traded 1 for 1. They were all there to follow up. In the second round on gym, it's just isolated members just dying alone. No real follow-up, nothing really happening. It's 5 members on each of their own positions. I think they gotta get more together and fight Wolves, because if Mogli's gonna swing you, have 2 guns stare him down, trade 1 for 1 at worst, because right now he's just winning every single 1 versus 1. It's a 50-50. But for players like Mowgli, it's not really a 50-50, because he wins them 75% of the time. That's how he plays.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
Bar it is.
Bar indeed it is. You called it correctly.
I mean, it's too logical, right? Because it's like, the Bandit's gone, CCTV is gonna fall, there's just no way to hold it. It really like lives and dies off the Bandit. Maybe if that's your span, you can excuse it with a kite or a mute and make things work. Maybe if Mirror's open, you can like impact trick through the mirror window. But with both of those operators banned, being Mirror and Bandit, there's just no way that's a sensible choice. Attacker Repix coming out from FaZe. They're responding to this bar bomb set being showcased. Nothing too drastic, just a different lineup for different kinds of utility pieces, whereas Wolves are bringing kind of everything. Information, plant denies, can see through smoke, keep it barriers, C4. They are preparing for any sort of outcome with this lineup.
And Twitch drone will clear out some of this utility inside of the bomb site. Oh,
It's hunting time.
absolutely is.
But this is the thing, when you got a Twitch drone, there's nobody on the site itself, you can just take whatever you want, then leave your drone in the middle of the site for information later on. It's great value from Astro. Astro also arguably the Twitch player in the world of Rainbow Six Siege. Always played this operator since year one.
You just saw that Shinka lost at least one yokai, right? So I'm curious as to how many more they might have lost out on. Because an Echo without a yokai, and especially losing those yokais early, it's absolutely debilitating. Shinka also has the Supernova, doesn't have access to the MP5 suppressed, so that will be a close range Echo, I'm assuming played similarly to what we see out of Smokes.
A Baron 9 on long distance is not pretty. Look at Mowgli again, always getting aggressive. Spotted out.
Oh my. Baited in perfectly.
That looks too easy. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Look at this. Nice angle from Rise, looking up above. I've yet to see Shinka go onto a yokai. That could just be me not seeing it, but
I think you're right.
I'm curious here as to if there's still one in play. It shows he doesn't have one in his pocket, but FaZe just taking their time, dotting their I's, crossing their T's.
I mean, they thought they had that easy walk on in, but the angle from above shut them down. Shin gets the Baron 9 kill onto Cameraman, and now FaZe, they gotta find something to work out here because nothing's really going their way.
Shinka in that same spot up on the top of the stairs that we've seen before. Astro's in planting, by the way. Rise knows that, but it doesn't look like he had a good read on it. Oh, Bibu drops. Rise had shot the foot. Souls refrags heading onto the stage. Bullet far away. Through the hatch, down goes P4. FaZe have evened the numbers out. There's still time left to get that diffuser and have the Brazilian squad accomplish the objective. Again, we have to ask the question, what utility in terms of cams are available? I don't think there's any yokais left. That means that it's just up to the black eye cams, which they've spotted and now are gone. Shinka over towards the hatch. Rise not too far off. And Rise can see from above, Souls taking an awful beating there, only 15 seconds left. FaZe will need to figure out a way to get this plant down. And Souls will do it by the hatch. Bullet absolutely must cover. He does a good enough job of it. Shinka takes out Bullet though. Souls with the diffuser has but a second to get on it. And now Shinka can run up and end it in its tracks. Wolves sprinting to the finish line. They're up 3-0.
And again, it's Shinka, last alive as always, to play down the clock as they have done so many times before. And I mean, I'm not like confused necessarily, but FaZe tried to plant in the same spot in like 3 or 4 different locations, none of which worked, and they never took master bedroom control. There was never a guy on the master bedroom window. That wasn't how they approached the round, so it is confusing to me that they chose to keep trying to force it, especially once they figured out there was a warden on the board, because those smoke grenades are not gonna grant you any cover. Either you gotta get above and disrupt the verticality, or you gotta find a different position to plant, like they did towards the end below the hatch. But then Shinka, he was there for the trade because Wolves, they communicated 3, 2, 1. You swing the hatch, I'm gonna swing pool table. One of us is gonna get a kill, other person plays the 1v1 with 4 seconds left. And that's exactly what they did. And that's why it worked out so well for them, because they worked together. Whereas FaZe Clan, one member has to just hold F on his keyboard and plant, while the other member just has to fight 2 people at once. That's never gonna work in your favor. Especially not at this level of play. And Wolves right now, they're really showing up strategically and dynamically, something that they were not really able to do against Mirage earlier today. It looks like they've had a good hard talk together with their coaching staff and really thought through the problems of the past.
Outside, Souls on Ying. This is going to be an annoying lineup to deal with. First logic bomb from the Dokkaebi of Cameraman will go off. Candelas and logic bombs to deal with for the defenders. Not a great spot to be in. Nobody likes doing that. Raise your hands if you've played Rainbow Six Siege and had to deal with both a Ying and a Dokkaebi, and frankly just not had a very good time.
I mean, add Jackal to the mix as well, right? It's like you get Jackal, Tracked, and Lions, and it's like, do you move or do you stand still? Like, what's worse? Either way, you probably die in the end.
I believe you just stand still.
Yeah, just stand still, right?
That's what they say, right?
Yeah. Suppose that's true.
You called out FaZe's lack of a Thatcher and EMPs before. No pocket EMPs on this lineup from FaZe either. Meaning that if there's a Kaid in play, which there is, those Electro Claws can be very, very powerful on some of the hatches that are harder to get at. FaZe triumphant in their entry. Bounce back from Wolves as they pick up 2. Candelas go in, Souls from Dirt Tunnel, but another Kiba goes up right as he melees it. Bullet in, capitalizing off of a potentially blind P4. Rise takes out Cameraman, and Mowgli, standing inside of Church, has to deal with these last 2 players, allowing Rise to get back to the bomb site. Souls on the plant, but he aborts it. Not going to be able to pull it off. Bullet has the bead on Rise, and there you go. Souls getting the plant down. Mowgli will need to stop it in its tracks. Can he do it? Doesn't look likely. A blind fire through. FaZe get their very first round. It's still 3-1 in favor of Wolves, but at least FaZe is on the board.
And that's exactly what I want to see from FaZe. A change of pace to play more aggressive, because they can still thrive in these aggressive, explosive situations. Like I explained earlier, they can play both styles. It's a matter of choosing which one they think works the best. There's a fast blue and dirt attack. It was a good follow-up. They didn't even get to really utilize the Incantelas whatsoever.
Guess what, guys? It's happening. We're back. We're actually going to do it. We're actually going to play Direwolves versus Mirage. I hope you enjoyed that little sneak peek of what's going on the A stream with Wolves and FaZe, the 2 would-be kings of this group. But now we're looking at the Jacks and seeing whether they might be able to lift themselves up and start a coup d'etat to make for those playoff spots. What do you reckon? That was all right, wasn't it?
Oh, that wasn't bad from you. I like that one.
Yeah, I've been, sitting here writing all these lines.
Considering that you almost just choked on a piece of licorice, that's not bad from you.
The audience doesn't need to know that I was desperately trying to swallow a piece of licorice in time for us to come back. Why would you expose me like that?
I gotta do it too.
Well, I'm glad you've got a box now at least,
yeah,
so I don't have to...
Listen, I'm nice and tall now, all right? I might be short, but I've got tall person energy.
Well, fortunately for you guys, you don't have to look at our ugly mugs anymore. We're getting into the game. It's Direwolves and Mirage. And of course, we're playing here on everybody's favorite theme park. Let's see what rides they've got in store for us.
Exciting, exciting. Here we go. Down to Armory and Throne Room. Of course, even though rehost has happened, they have to pick the same site and bring the same lineup. So as long as they do these things, and the admins do not have a fit at them, we will be in the game.
It looks all correct to me.
Looks all correct to you, Mr. Admin, Dev Mod James.
I'm not an admin. Please do not defer to my judgment. I will not take responsibility. Yeah, so what do we got? We've got the Frost. Down in Throne Armory, we've got the Frost. The Valkyrie is a good one. I like to see Valkyrie in. That Warden ban is an unusual one. Perhaps they were looking to ban Valkyrie and they accidentally went for the other operator that has an MPX. There's a cat, by the way. That was a joke. You're not laughing right now. Why aren't you laughing?
Mirage are looking to do this extended roam through the entire map, essentially. You've got your Frost setting up their things inside of Drug. There you go. That's the one Frost map with a line of sight as well. On top of that, they've actually opened up the hatch that goes into that split, going into the bomb site 2 and the top floor. And so they're looking to hold on to that top floor for as long as possible and fall off back into the site later. So very extensive from Mirage, very ambitious kind of hold. And we can see all 5 players segmenting themselves in one part of the map each.
Yeah, I quite like that. This is a very mobile kind of operator lineup on the defense, isn't it? Especially when you got that Valk to help out. This looks like Reaps is just going to yeet into that bathroom window once it's droned clear by his teammates. One thing I personally love, I love playing Valk on this map, and I love doing pre-placed C4s, but funnily enough, Valkyrie's actually not brought C4, she's brought Impact. So I've got to assume that she's playing on site and she's going to Impact trick the walls.
Well, Impact tricking the walls is going to be a very, very late stage of the round if it does happen. The roam clear has started to announce for the Direwolves, and they're going to be met by Kento just inside of that hall. And he's going to be taken down by Reeves, who's good for 2 instead. The onslaught of the Direwolves continues to go through, but not before Melted claws one back.
But this is what we expected from Reeps and his debut on the international stage. This Chinaman has been so hyped up. He was a ranked demon, one of the original #1 champs in the world. And now he's made his way onto the international stage, into the comp scene. He's tearing it up. He had a bit of a slow game against FaZe, but he's woken up here against Mirage. However, ED went down, and that's your hard breach.
Yeah, that's not good signs, but really, how much hard breach do they realistically need on this bomb site? If they can get this vertical off from Pika, the other 2 players of Mirage, I believe, are still off-site. I could be completely wrong, and Pietro will tell me that I'm wrong, perhaps. And yeah, I think it's, yeah, okay, so it's only Mohesi on the site.
Oh, yeah, Melted's off.
Okay.
No, so we do have Frost is prone in Furnace, I think.
Okay, there we go.
There you go.
So if they do want to go for a site execute, it's really just going to be a 4-on-2, right, at the point that they flood, and they've got only 1 roamer to deal with. And if they identify just how empty the site is, even without getting the walls open, it's still doable without the hard breach.
Is Benji actually just playing the hiding game? Is he trying to bait Dial into thinking Furnace is clear? Well, a nade just found his way right to his feet, and somehow he didn't take damage from it. He's still hiding in that corner. The drop comes through, and oh no! They don't know! But it doesn't matter because they turn on him! Benji had it all go wrong. Melted has got to have an impact here, but perfect play from Pika. Mohesi now in the 1v2. Could clutch this, and he might just do that. Jackie Woo's down on the ground. Pika has to commit to this. Is he going to be able to see him? Oh, Mohesi gets off. And that is round 1 going to Direwolves.
Nice push from the Direwolves. Like I said earlier, even though ED went down, the fact that they had gotten so far in the man advantage from that roam clear meant that they could just flood the site. Even though there was only 2 of them on the site, it was a 2-on-4, and they all committed to that idea, except for the 1 player that held the hatch for that post plant that Jackie Wu went for, right next to that split hatch. I think that was really well played from the Direwolves to be decisive on that decision. They all went for it together, and there was redundancy in that entry when it came through. That was exactly the win condition of that attack, and they went for it.
I love that. Good round, honestly. Credit to Mirage. They brought it back from a 3v4 into that eventual 1v1, largely due to some heroics there. But yeah, I actually it's pretty disgusting, but I do like that attempt from Benji. Very cheeky, just a prone in Furnace, and I think Direwolves need to be extra careful because they got off scot-free pretty much. I don't think the Frost found a kill at all, and if he had, that may well have been Mirage's round.
10 seconds left before insertion.
Mirage are going to take us over to this bunks site instead.
Seconds left.
Playing this hold around the cafe area, the Iruni gate will aid the control just outside of that cafe door. Meanwhile, both walls inside of Cash have been reinforced off as well. This hallway getting opened. I suppose what that means is that that waiting area is more of a power position rather than the office or initiation itself. We'll see how Direwolves deal with it.
I know this may seem small, but it's interesting to me to see more Legion play. I feel like we barely see any Legion these days, and that's 2 for 2 in rounds right now. I wonder whether it's... I mean, well, in the absence of Nook, you don't need to rely on traps to try and look for these lurkers. You could use the cameras, which we've actually foregone this round. No more Valkyrie for Mohesi.
Well, I think Legion is a bit of a necessary evil when you're playing against Direwolves, especially when you have Reeps picking Amaru and running around. I mean, sorry, not Reeps, it's Souffle picking Amaru and running around.
It was Reeps
and
last
you've also
round.
got...
Sharing the love.
Of course, of course. And then you've also got the rest of the Direwolves making some pretty unconventional entries. It looks like they're going to go for a... Ooh, okay, anyway. It looks like they're going to go for a bottom-up, more direct take onto the bomb site. ED is going to get this pressure down from below, starting to burn that utility. And that's on that cache... That's on that cafe double just upstairs. But Melted, in fact, is able to take the engagement, that one-on-one through the vertical and take him down.
It's actually really ambitious. I've never seen anyone do that vertical line, let alone contest it from the other way. But this nade could be big. That must have been caught out by a magnet, though. And in fact, Melted is still able to keep his shield alive. Direwolves desperately need to clear out this position because it is so powerful.
There's also a second magnet, I believe, right next to where Melted is currently sitting. There we go, he's just turned to him. And so if they want to chuck that second grenade in, maybe that takes it down with it. Oh, it actually does. There you go. The magnet was just slightly too close to that shield, and Melted Shield has now been taken down. They do have cafe control if they wish to make that entry, but first of all, they have to worry about the player on the arcade stairs, and that was Kento that was just taken down by Reaps.
Well, there you go. You said it and it happened. Reaps is once again on a tear. On the Yana this round, a great gun. Back with the 1.5 again. G36 players unite and rejoice at that change.
So Direwolves have actually decided to flip their push entirely. They're no longer going for that cafe, more direct take, and they're going to look for that map sweep. And that's where that Legion Mine really comes into play. Reaps, he just stepped into one coming up the Dragon Stairs, and now we see all of Mirage starting to train their sights on the other side of the map.
Ah, but Souffle's nailed Benji. He's now going to have to sit on those bulletproof cameras with Kento. Direwolves are kind of everywhere all at once. So here comes Reaps round in the corner. Dexter's gone down. Reaps goes deep. Is he going to be able to flatten the player top white? What a shot from Smoke. SMG-11, and it doesn't matter now. Melted steps up as well. He's the clutch player, but he's been taken down. All on Mahesi, but Pika to find the double with the F2. And Direwolves are 2 rounds on the trot on the attacking side of Theme Park.
Really nice pivot from the side of Direwolves. Once they realized that funnel coming up the arcade stairs and through cafe was a little dicey, it was pretty hard to work. They decided, okay, since we've been given this entire bottom floor control for free, let's just walk it up Dragon Stairs, make it a more multifaceted, like two-way pinch type push. And as a result, it forced Mirage to divide their attention. They were caught out in the gunfights. Reaps super good on that entry, coming in through initiation, eventually cleaned up by Pika on the double.
This is quite a different Direwolves to what we saw this morning with FaZe, isn't it? FaZe were manhandling Direwolves. They really struggled to get their feet into the building on Skyscraper. They struggled to find their confidence. And while I had theorized earlier, it feels like a long time ago when we were doing the pre-show for this game, Direwolves start on that attacking side. In theory, that's less favored. In theory, you have more comfort on your defense, and yet they have not held back. They've looked very organized, very prepared to play Theme Park, a map that they do not regularly play. So they've clearly scrimmed it, they're clearly confident in it, and they're taking that confidence into their gunfights, into their team play. They're not hesitating, and they've really put Mirage on the back foot early when Mirage would expect to be on the favored side.
This is a pretty chaotic game of Theme Park to follow as well. None of these pushes from the Direwolves have been linear at all. And typically, when you think of Theme Park, you think of a linear map. That's sort of the nature of the architecture. But the way that Mirage are extending themselves across the map, being ambitious with their roam, has enabled Direwolves to find an in on the entry, just find a way to slip into the building. And it's been pretty chaotic. It's been very hard to follow, and it's not the usual Theme Park that you see every day.
Mirage need to make sure they can get their heads back into the game. It's not been an easy start for them. It's been quite a long time coming to get into this game, and no doubt, especially for a team like Mirage that's not quite used to playing at this international stage. This is their debut. Direwolves might not be used to it, but they have at least done it once before in Charlotte. I feel like that is going to disproportionately affect these less experienced teams like Mirage. The fact that you're playing this waiting game, you're dealing with these issues, it just zaps you out of the zone.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have to agree with you on that, especially for Mirage, where this is their first ever event on LAN, or I suppose aside from NAL, like a big major event.
I think it's quite a different vibe. Obviously, I've never been to the Vegas studio. I would love to one day go and see what an NAL play day is like at the studio, but I've got to say, it's no doubt going to be quite a different vibe to here. And you said this before, like they've traveled halfway across the world.
Exactly, yeah. And having to deal with the travel and the jet lag and just making sure that everyone's healthy. I've been chatting to some of the players as they walk around the venue, and a lot of them I've asked them, okay, how are you going, that kind of thing. A lot of them are saying, yeah, some of our players are getting sick, it's really cold. Yeah. And so I think for all these teams, it's not only the hurdle of playing some good Rainbow Six against the best teams in the world, but also just trying to stay healthy and make sure things are okay. We've got the hand warmers, of course, that's just in the shot at the moment. Very, very rare and important commodity here inside of the studio here inside of Stockholm.
Because you mentioned the travel, I just thought, wouldn't it be fun to compare the weather right now in Las Vegas versus the weather in Stockholm? So today, on Monday, the maximum was 0 degrees. And it is snowing. I can confirm that. It is bloody cold outside. In Las Vegas, well, right now it's cold, but that's because it's very early. But the maximum temperature today in Las Vegas is 17 degrees and sunny with a bit of clouds. That's by the way, I know we're casting an American team. That's Celsius, by the way. Celsius. I don't believe in Fahrenheit. I'm sorry.
We're Australians.
I'm gonna get a lot of NA haters for that. I apologize. I feel like I'm gonna need to convert this to Fahrenheit now, but I honestly wouldn't even know where to begin.
As an engineer, or actually as an aerospace engineer, Kelvin is the superior.
Okay.
The superior metric.
Can you guess what temperature it is in Kelvin right now?
Well, to add 273.
Is that how you do it? You convert Celsius to Kelvin?
Yeah.
So it's 270. So if it's 0 degrees in Stockholm right now, it's 276 degrees Kelvin. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me with a complete lack of confidence in your eyes?
Because we're doing math on the broadcast and we suck at doing math.
It's 0 plus 276.
No, 273.
Oh, well.
I believe. Could be completely wrong. That's very possible.
All right.
I'm an engineer, not an astronomer.
You will be marked for this afterwards, so be warned. This is the octopus. Is it an octopus or is it a squid? It's what I would love to know.
I think this is an octopus.
Does it have 8
Surely
legs?
that looks like.
It's got to have
8
8 legs. It's got to have 8 legs if it's an octopus, by definition.
I reckon that's definitely 8 legs, I reckon.
Yeah, yeah,
Those legs are not very big and it's got quite a large diameter, you know?
yeah.
That's an octopus.
Here's Reaps. Here we go. So, like I was saying before, you don't often get to see him. He looks like a very cool guy, don't you think? I feel like he could easily play like a Bond villain.
Yeah, for sure.
I get that
I get those vibes. I get those vibes too.
Or like a child prodigy, like owns a billion-dollar tech company, has a villain arc kind of thing. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I feel those vibes. Mirage is just chilling, having a good time.
I've got a fun fact about Mirage. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, give me a fun fact about Mirage.
So Mirage's manager, DNA, is the oldest of any support players or staff at this event, at 45 years old.
Wow, did you really have to out him like that? That's mean.
I mean, it's public information. Sorry, DNA, if that was private, but I found on Wikipedia, so you can blame Wikipedia for that one.
Oh no, you've really gone and done him in like that. Oh.
I mean, be proud of your age. With age comes wisdom. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Being the oldest player, the wisest player. Can you guess who the second oldest is? Did you just see my screen?
No, I didn't. I didn't see your
Can you
screen.
guess?
I have absolutely no idea. Player or support staff?
Support staff.
Oh, support staff, no idea.
All right, go player. Can you guess who the oldest player at this event is?
Rise? No.
That's close. I think he's second. Don't look at my screen for a second.
No.
He is second. Rise is second.
Yeah. Who is the oldest player? Not cameraman. Cameraman's 3.
That's correct. So who is number 1? The oldest player at the Jönköping Major. You can't get it, can you?
Stumped.
Do you want me to give you a clue?
I can't believe it.
Do you want me to give you a clue?
No.
No, you don't want a clue.
No, I've got to know this.
All right, you got
one.
to talk me through your process then.
Well, I thought maybe it's Julio, just for the sake of
Oh, that's a good
his
guess.
experience.
It's not, but that is a
definitely
good
not,
guess.
But it's definitely not. And I have absolutely no idea who it is.
Do you want me to tell you?
Who is it?
It's Envy Taylor from Sandbox.
Of course. I'm an
Do you want me to out his age on stream? He is 30 years old. In fact, he is 10 days older than Rise.
Wow. So I was close. I was close.
Yeah, you were, but close but no cigar. Close is still incorrect, as you would know, being an engineer. If you get the maths wrong, your plane is going to fall out of the sky. Doesn't matter if you're close, you're still going to fail.
This is a disaster.
You don't get points for close, Mandy.
No, unfortunately not.
All right, do you want to do youngest now? I'm right into this.
Youngest.
Yeah, I made a whole trivia section of my spreadsheet for exactly this moment.
Is the youngest not Reaps?
Let me check. So the thing is, I will, disclaimer, there are some players whose ages I do not have.
Okay.
However, I do have Reaps' age, and he is not the youngest.
Wow, okay. And it's not Mowgli. I thought it was Mowgli for a bit, but I think Mowgli is not the youngest.
I'll
Reaps
check
is
if I have Mowgli's
Reaps
age.
is younger than Mowgli. That's what I know. Mowgli is 19, I believe.
Where did I put age? Here we go. No, Mowgli's not that old. He's in his 20s. He's 20.
Oh.
Sorry, not that young, I should say.
Who is the youngest player?
I'll give you a clue. He's an APAC player.
No way.
Yep, the youngest
Good
player.
boy.
Yes.
It's good boy.
And my next clue is it was the same youngest player at Berlin.
Of course.
1 day older than Spoit. Oh, sorry, 1 day younger than Spoit, rather.
Yes, of course.
The youngest player of the tournament, good boy, which also leads to another fun trivia point.
Here we go.
The oldest player at this major and the youngest player at this major play on the same team, Sandbox Gaming.
Yes, of course.
Isn't that
Lauren
funny?
Taylor does.
I think
Wow,
that's
crazy.
you'd probably be hard pressed to find a modern Rainbow Six event that Sandbox have attended where they don't have the oldest and youngest player, because it was the same in
Yes.
Berlin as well.
Yes, of course. I mean, I think Wolves come close, right? Because they've got one of the oldest players and one of the younger players. They've got quite a big age gap between them.
Yeah, I mean 10 years between Mowgli and Rise is pretty big,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's
it's
still not
not-
as big as
not a-
12 years
Yeah.
between Good Boy and Envy Taylor.
12 years is a lot of time.
Yeah. Funnily enough, the second youngest player at this tournament is actually on Mirage, and it's Dexter,
Oh,
19 years of age.
there you have it.
Yeah, I do get a bit scared when I see that like people who are 2004 and 2003 babies are like 18, 19 now. That makes me feel old, and I'm not old.
That makes me feel scared. Both of us are not very old.
No,
Yeah.
I am older than you though,
Yes.
which is pretty obvious in just the way we conduct ourselves, don't you think?
We're back in the game!
We're in the game.
We're back in the
I
game!
don't believe it. I see it, but I don't believe it. Theme Park. I'm going to let you in on a little secret, Mandy. I know Theme Park gets a lot of hate, but I actually love this map. I'm going to cop some hate for this, but this is one of my favorite maps to play. Disclaimer, when you are in a 5-stack and have a coordinated team. This map is hell to play when you're a solo on attack, but when you have a coordinated Theme Park attack, or like I love playing like a roam with Mute or Mozzie, nothing beats that feeling.
You know what, Dev?
5 seconds.
I don't think anyone cares about your ranked experience. Theme Park is still Theme Park.
I've had people tell me that before explicitly. Dev, can you please stop talking about your ranked games?
I reckon that's a hot take. Your ranked takes. Anyway, we're back on Theme Park. We're going down to the basement. I mean, not the basement, the ground floor bomb site, Armory and Throne Room. Once again, Mirage looking for this extended roam, trying to take total map control, not only in this drug and storage side area, but also in the top floor. Last time, the Direwolves were able to cut down the roam really quickly. There was a super explosive entry that came from the side of Reaps and dueled with Souffle there on the Amaru. Let's see if they can repeat the form again.
I can't believe that ED is playing with his hood on as well. Can't imagine that would be very comfortable. But Reaps with a nade might make it a bit uncomfortable for Mirage playing around Cash. It's Kento. He was taken out by Reaps previously with that Amaru. No Amaru this time though, as Kento starts to fall back.
Starting to play a little bit more passively. Last time, like you said, they were caught out, so they don't want to repeat those mistakes again. Already starting to bunker down on the side as well. Mahesi rotating some of those Bandit charges to protect the walls. Edie, once again, not taken down early, so if he wants to use that hard breach, there's still a minute and 45 seconds left to deal with it. What is the Direwolves going to do, though? Are they going to look for that full top floor clear, or are they just going to consolidate their hard breach into barrels, into maintenance, that type of thing?
Oh, well, still in this 5v5, it's quite a distinction between the previous time Direwolves attacked this when they had those 2 early picks and lost their hard breach right at the start of the round. It means we might actually see a bit of hard breach attempted. However, there's impacts and bandit batteries that will make it a little bit more difficult for Edie to get that off.
Bomb located
Mirage
by
having a little
attackers.
bit more success there on denying this time for Direwolves with that roam. There is a player inside of the drug lab as well. That's Reeves playing the cutoff on that player, and the rest of the Direwolves now starting to go through that problem-solving phase. How are they going to execute onto the bomb site? Are they going to go and try for that lateral control, or are they going to go and open up one of the walls? Now, they only have Selmas, and there's only one more.
I mean, they've got the tin can openers from Bach, but I would have thought they would use that on the hatch. But I guess ED decided he just needed to get that open as fast as possible. I'm scared here, Mandy, for Direwolves. They had such a strong start, but they've done so little this round.
I would have to agree with you. There's only 30 seconds left, and there's really no main breach that has gone down. Only the hatch is open to them, and they haven't cleared out any of the anchors so far.
Neither have they cleared out Drug as well, so they're also susceptible to a flank. They really need to get a move on. 25 seconds, no picks through the vert, no walls open, and here comes the Candelas. They're gonna have to use the Ying to its fullest potential. Flash in the corner of Furnace, melted, taken down, Souffle for a double! You can't stop him! ED now forcing this plant down, but Kento is traded back. Can't get that plant off now. He fakes it. And Mohesi is running up. He is able to deny the plant, leaving it all up to Pika. And he is not able to get it done.
Really unfortunate in that execute from the Direwolves. The explosion that came through from Souffle getting that double down. ED, once he started that plant, he got off it in fear that the cover didn't come through. And as a result, the re-attempt that he tried to do, there was just simply not enough time to get that done. By then, a Mirage player had snuck through the cracks. I believe that was Mohesi looking for the retake. And unfortunately, that late round just doesn't work out in their favor. Mirage able to claw that one back on time.
Yeah, it really feels like there was a lot missing from Direwolves there. The eventual Ying push was so good. I loved that. But yeah, like you said, little mistakes do cost rounds. And Mirage now, after that extended technical break, they've finally broken through. They've got their first round. They've got that under their belt, a bit of confidence to go along with it, a bit of self-assurance that they can step up as they go over. I believe we're back to bunk daycare. This didn't work out so well for them last time. If you are joining us now from the A stream, welcome. We've just started this game. It's the same group as the match you've been watching with Wolves and FaZe. It's Direwolves and Mirage. Neither team have a win just yet. Both of them looking to break through to put them back in the game for a playoff spot.
Mirage taking us over to this Bunk's side. Looking like a pretty conservative setup from them, nothing too fancy and nothing too ambitious like we saw in the previous round. And the Direwolves have actually decided to bring along the Monty with them. They're not bringing the hard breach on ED anymore. The hard breach has gone to Pika instead. Shuffled the roles a little bit, and they're going to try and use this Monty to make this entryway through the cache side of the map.
I like the idea. Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe. We don't often see this from Jackie Wood. I don't really remember a lot of multiplayer in APAC South.
Reap's going to be the first point of contest into the building. The first one he's going to have to take this fight onto is that player in the top of the office rotate, which has just been reinforced off. In fact, he does take some damage through a long line of sight from inside of Bunk, and the rest of Mirage are starting to feel keyed into this cache-sided push. Now, the hard part for Direwolves here is that a lot of the walls are closed, right? Nice drone hole kill, though. Reaps, he was taken very low from that early engagement, but this is exactly the problem, right? The bandits are going to go on the wall, and this anti-hard breach is very, very hard to deal with. You've really got to lob a nade through it exactly the right angle through this doorway, through the double door, in order to clear it. And they've just lost their set of nades in Reaps. Of course, there's baby EMPs, true. That's another thing that they can use to deal with it.
Doesn't stop the bandit trick though, does it? And we've just seen the final bit of hard breach used up in Pika's Selma. Means that Direwolves will not be breaching this dorm's wall. But Monty's now taking control of the top of Yellow Stairs, and we can see Mirage begin to pull back onto Arcade.
Direwolves are making their territory their own, starting to make their way in through this cache side. They haven't elected to open up the initiation side of the map, so they've really got to consolidate all their plays around cache. Once again, explosive execute here from Souffle.
Not just yet, they will have to move. They do jump in now, and wow, this has not gone well at all. It's just Pika left. Gonna have to clutch this 1v3. There's a lot of time to work with though. 1v3 becomes 1v2 with Melted being the clutch king, the most clutch player in all of NAL. Pika's gonna have to take him down, and Mohesi sees the player, can take down Melted. Now it's up to Mohesi, and it's just a 1v1. Guess what? Pika's got sight to himself. He hasn't taken out that arcade cam, I do believe, as of yet, which gives Mohesi a bit of an advantage in this situation. No C4, Pika goes for the bait. Watching the position, but Mohesi baits him out as well. He's got to decide now. He's going to go for the drop. He is, but Mohesi reads him like a book. And that means the scoreline's been evened up.
Bro, Rob, that was so awkward, bro.
Yeah, I felt like the Direwolves there, they got a little, I suppose, I'm not going to say lazy. That's not the word that I'm looking for. But I think they got a bit ambitious with how little room they were trying to take through that top floor. They had the EMPs, they had the grenades, and if they wanted to, they could make a breach on the initiation wall as well as getting a breach on that top Yellow Stairs wall. I think what that did was that just gave way too much real estate on the site for Mirage to keep playing around in that area, and only taking that cafe side of the map made it quite hard for them to get into the bomb site. Eventually, one-on-one situation could have gone either way. But I think in general, Mirage had a much better grip on both of those bomb sites in that final execute.
What do you think about this site then, Mandy? Lab and storage. It took a little bit of time for teams to warm up to this site. I think it was just upon instinct, the least preferred site. But once teams started to realize the way that they can play the map a little bit more and play a bit more aggressively, lean into that roam game, it started to develop a little bit more favor.
Well, I think this is very characteristic of Mirage, if anything. Mirage have already shown us, even on that first ground floor bomb site, that Armory throne room bomb site, that they like to go for these ambitious roams. And they like to play this more fluid playstyle where they're making full map rotations and helping each other out in that way. And so I think this is the perfect bomb site for their game philosophy going to Theme Park.
I'm going to keep my eye on Reaps in the entry later on because he's been such a dangerous entry player, but he's also died first in the previous round. And when Reaps goes down early, you lose not only the util that he's got, the information gathering of the Geminis and the nades, but most importantly, you lose Reaps, the player that has given Direwolves a breath of fresh life into Stage 3 and helped them return to the international stage.
Direwolves once again choosing to bring along this Monty to aid this early game, making that roam clear hopefully a little bit quicker, because indeed the roam from Mirage is very, very extensive. There's a lot for the Direwolves if they want to break this map down and get full control.
Yeah, I do love this pulse pick. Monty's got to be extra careful. Mahesi could well get a vert kill here. At the moment, not walking on soft floor, but he's just a couple of steps away from it. Looks like he is running the tin can openers as Jackie Wu, so he can actually get a breach on that top yellow wall. But there's so much more ground still to be taken for Direwolves, isn't there?
Yeah, and that's exactly the beauty of the strat that Mirage has brought. It's going to be very tough for Direwolves to choose just exactly what part of the map they want to deal with. Their utility divided, their resources divided, and in the chaos is where Mirage thrive. 2 picks up now onto Direwolves.
And guess what? It is Reaps who went down first as well, so unfortunately, he could not deliver this round. Thankfully for Mirage, it's very clear that they have got themselves in the game. Wow, big risk from Jackie Wu to ADS in that gunfight, but Souffle does manage to get the cutoff, so Dexter does not escape with his life.
And now this is the second part of the push that the Direwolves got to. They've got this top floor control, but now they need to translate it down to the ground floor. And not only that, through the vertical though, Kento, goodness gracious me, that is not good on the side of the Direwolves. You do not want to be losing the man count when there is so much more room to take, when there are so many more areas that they need to claim before they can even hit the bomb site.
It's a real rough one, isn't it, for ED? Great shot though from Kento, nailed him through the floor. Jackie Wu's going to have to show that even on the Monty, he can deliver. Souffle as well. He's already found the only pick so far as he throws out a Candela and then just gets wall-banged by Kento. Jackie Wu versus the world, and it's not going to last very long at all.
Kento with a 3K in his position, first of all contesting the vertical and then cleaning up the final 2 picks. Really fantastic work from Mirage, capitalizing on just how little time the Direwolves had and the indecisiveness of that team as they came through the mid-round, right? That roam was very extensive from Mirage. There's a lot of effort and resources that went into clearing through that top floor. And what Mirage were able to do was, when Direwolves are going through that problem-solving phase through the mid-round, figuring out what to do next is exactly how you thrive in the chaos, is exactly when Kento is able to take that crazy fight. When they drop the hatch in desperation because they don't have enough players is when Kento finds his other 2 picks. It's just a wonderful strat from Mirage, and I think Direwolves played straight into their hands.
Yeah, 100%. And with that full circle of 3 different defense bomb site wins, Mirage have, well, they have 2 choices. They either go to Throne Armory, which is what I expect, or they go and try a bomb site we haven't seen yet, Initiation Office. And so that's what Direwolves going to be talking about right now. Not necessarily dissecting too much what went wrong in the last 3 rounds, because you only have a minute in the tactical timeout. You can't get too confident with it. They just need to suss out what are the things that they're going to do right here, right now, to breathe back new life into this game. Because after that big technical rehost after 2-0, the Direwolves have really struggled.
I think the thing is, taking your tactical timeout on round 6 can be quite dangerous in some ways, because whatever you talk about on one half of the map doesn't translate to the other half of the attack. So Direwolves are really putting those resources and time into claiming that 3-3 half. They believe that getting this attack is important to them, and that's something that's really curious to me.
I will say, potentially, I agree with you in theory that whatever they're talking about now in terms of strategy or gameplay doesn't translate into the second half. But what if it's mental? What if it's about, hey guys, you know, just chill out? Like, that does translate into the second half. And what's more, if Direwolves end up 3-3 on their attack and manage to break this momentum from Mirage, I feel like the mental is in a completely different field to if they lose 4 rounds in a row to Mirage and end up having to get 5 of their defenses to win this in regulation.
That's a really good point, and something that I suppose is very unique to this series with the amount of pauses that we've had, and keeping that momentum in this game is quite challenging. That's exactly why that tactical timeout is probably more important for that reason, if anything else. Direwolves now starting once again on this roam clear. Mirage once again looking to extend their way across the entire map, but this time Direwolves have got some extra tools to try and deal with that roam clear. They've got the logic bomb of Jackie Wu that will aid some of those entries in identifying exactly where those roamers are and timing those pushes perfectly.
Interesting that Direwolves decided to get off that Monty. They tried it twice and it didn't work to great effect either time. Going for that Dockerby instead. Man, this feels really slow to me. There's so much work to be done if you're Direwolves, right? You've only got the one hard breacher. You can count the buck if you like. But there's so much map to clear out, and only then are you going to be opening up the site and opening up the vert.
Well, the thing is, it's a really tough decision for the Direwolves to make. They have 2 choices here, right? There's a big roam. Do we clear it? Or do we just segment part of the map and only clear exactly what we need? And it seems like they're going to be going for this roam clear. Reeves has just made his way inside of Cafe, but is being taken down through the vertical of Melted. There's just so many things that the Direwolves have to worry about if they want to go for total map control.
Reeves has just been shut down. These last 3 rounds, he has been the first player to die in the server. Not what you want from the would-be star player of Direwolves. At least, fortunately for Souffle, he was able to find 1 kill back, took down Benji. Looks like we've got 2 players fall back to site. Is there one more thrown? I think there is one thrown as well. Yeah, there you go. So it's a 3-1 split at the moment, and that player in maintenance is barely far behind as well. The big thing here for Direwolves is they've actually got full drug control, so they don't have to worry about that flank late round.
Honestly, I think this is a great call from Mirage. There's only 43 seconds left. The vertical's only just starting to come out, and we know that Mirage, in fact, are quite good at contesting the vertical.
Yeah.
So why not you just bunker down on the site, wait for these to get opened, and wait for them to panic as they exit into the site with only 30 seconds left to go.
Direwolves, big yellow breach open now, but got to worry about that furnace tuck-in. We can see there's no one there right now, but that doesn't mean Direwolves can't be worried about it. Big pick from Souffle, traded back by Dexter. ED now looking to move his way in, but there's a player hiding in the smoke. Peak has got to have an impact. Jackie Wu likely to push in as well, and he does find that pick, but traded back. It's all on Jackie now, as Kenso and Dexter will hide and not give him an inch. They instead take the mile and 4 rounds on their defensive stretch.
Let's go.
Big fans of the way that Mirage are currently playing that defense. That was a really disciplined way to fall back to the site and just take their time and allow Direwolves to essentially just run into the site with only 30 seconds left. There's no way they could have got drones in that time, and Mirage fully capitalized on the successes of that early to mid round, and that was the beauty of the strategy that they were running. That total map control, backing themselves in to hold onto as much of the map as possible, and relying on the fact that Direwolves will take too much time to make the decision on what they want to do is such a wonderful way to play Theme Park, and I think it's really led into this 4-2 success for them.
Yeah, I really liked that defense. I got to say for Direwolves, one thing I was disappointed that we didn't see was 2 hard breaches. Yeah, we had the buck with the tin cans, which I don't believe he ever used. Maybe he did open the hatch that last round. But you just get your ace thermite combo. I'm a big fan of that. If you can open up either the just any of the maintenance or barrels walls in tandem with that yellow wall, you cut off all of those backside positions and you make it way harder for the defense to have a solid spot to play. But funnily enough, it seems like the meta at the moment is to go for that single hard breach, because Mirage are also following suit with only an ace.
Well, the thing is, for Direwolves, like I said again, you can only do one of two things, right? You either consolidate one part of the map and just push it. That's where your double hard breach idea would work really well. Or you invest your utility and your resources into roam clearing. And that was what Direwolves went for each time they tried to attack into Mirage. Mirage, once again, I think are employing something pretty similar with their lineup too. They're looking for that roam clear. They're also electing to bring along that Dokkaebi. And they want to take as much map control as possible. It is this top floor bomb site, so admittedly there is a bit less of the map to take, but there's still something that they need to contest, and that's Reaps, first of all, inside of Dragon.
Reaps, the guy who's been shut out of the last 3 rounds without any impact whatsoever, and now he's in the Hell in a Cell position that's arguably one of the most important on this site. Playing around Cash, he almost loses his head, my god.
ED as well is there to support Reaps in this power position of the Dragon Stairs. A Logic Bomb to come out from Benji. This is a pretty tough entry to make. There's really only one window and one doorway, and there's a lot of utility protecting it. There you go. Reaps is able to make that swing onto Dexter and take him down.
Gotta say, still negative in the opening exchanges, and he's taking quite a bit of damage from that one too. So Reaps really needs to step it up. He's not shown the Reaps that we expected at this tournament. Of course, he, like many of these Mirage players, are having his first debut at an international tournament. But for Direwolves, fortunately, they recompose here, make it a 5-on-3.
Benji's making his way in through the cafe side, but given away by the Wee Woo on top of the doorway. Wee Woo. Just looking to claw something back here. When you're in that man disadvantage, you need to try and see what you can find. Any pick, anything that you might be able to do to claw back some of that real estate. Because right now, there's not a lot of it for Mirage. It seems like Benji's going to double down here with Melted on this cafe side of the map instead and try and catch someone off guard here.
Yeah, Mirage haven't quite decided exactly where they're going to push yet. Melted's crouch walked over to this hatch to try and avoid any sound cue. Here comes Benji with a drone to try and clear out arcade and bunks and daycare. Make sure that this side of the map is clear. Down comes Melted on the drop. That would have been a pretty audible cue to Direwolves. Very nice little sledgehammer, but there's a 100% chance that Reaps knows exactly where Melted is here. He might lose his life to a nade. Pin pull might have been heard. Benji does take down Pika, but not without a bit of damage done once again by Reaps, and he can also find the final one. He might have died first 3 rounds in a row, but then he manages to get a 3K and get Direwolves back in the game.
Well played from Reaps and ED on the side of that Dragon Stairs. The strategy they employed there worked out perfectly for them. They had that double ADS that was protecting Reaps in his power position, as well as the line of sight open so that Reaps could juggle the 2 angles of the door and the window. On top of that, you have ED supporting him, so in case that control hatch drop does come through, he's able to be protected by his teammate. In the end, Mirage, it was all down to those entries, right? And unfortunately, it just didn't work out in their favor. Reaps found the timing on the swing and eventually win the round off the back of the man count.
Well, only 1 round separating these teams now, Mandy. Mirage looking to try and continue their lead. If they could get this round, 5-3, it'd be a pretty substantial scoreline. They'd be just 1 round away from getting a point on the standings. They already have 1 point in the standings from their overtime loss to Wolves. I actually did ask production earlier, do you mind if we do a bit of a spoiler warning for the previous game in this group that was happening on the A stream?
Go ahead.
Just going to make sure I have the exact... Why is Wikipedia not... Oh, I'm looking at... No, Wikipedia's not updating. I'm confused. Why is Wikipedia not updating? Oh, well. So what production told me was that, spoiler alert, guys, Wolves managed to take down FaZe.
Wow.
Yeah. I was as surprised as you are, which is why I'm trying to double check it on Wikipedia, which seemingly hasn't updated yet.
That is a very exciting result. All of y'all, go back and watch that one when you've got some time. But for now, we're getting stuck into it in the theme park. The round count is getting much tighter.
Sorry, is the 5-4? So I think the game is still going.
There you go. The game is still
I'm confused. Yeah.
That's okay. You might be confused, but hopefully these players are not.
So maybe that was a huge spoiler. The game hasn't even happened yet. Maybe I've predicted the future.
Have you looked into the future? That would be a little bit terrifying. Mirage is starting to make their way into the building. Once again, looking for that top floor entry. Made a little bit easier as Kento is able to jump his way in. That ADS setup that ED and Reaps were doubling down on is no longer there, and they've been given a little bit more real estate on this side of the map.
Reaps is unlocked, baby. He's back in it. Took a while. donutted for 3 rounds, and here he is back in the server. Somehow he's managed to top frag. 9 kills, despite just opening death after opening death. He's come over that dry spell.
Bomb located by attacker.
Benji, though, has made his way inside of the bathroom. There's still a couple players left to deal with on this side of the map. One inside of Initiation, supported by his teammate. Just looking through this long line of sight. Oh, actually, now the player in Initiation is quite isolated. That's Jackie Wu on the Wamai. He's been fully flushed out now. Not too many teammates around him to help him out. Reaps is the closest one on the other side. But that wall's being open. It's going to isolate Reaps in his position as well. Jackie Wu's on his own.
He's got a C4 too. Like you said, though, Jackie alone. Reaps has gone all the way downstairs. Is he going for a flank? He's actually going to play the vert C4. Doesn't have info, so it's a blind one, but that does give information to Mirage. They know his position. They know he was below. They knew that C4 blew. But what's Jackie been able to do? He's still hiding in Initiation. He's about to get swung. Is he going to win the fight? He loses it. It's Kento who gets the better of him with 1 HP to his name.
45 seconds left to go. Mahesi has still got 1 more exothermic charge in his pocket, as well as 1 baby EMP, I believe. Oh, not baby EMP, big EMP on the side of Benji. So if they want to get open this wall inside of Initiation, they can, but not with a lot of time left to drain out the site and plan and execute.
Don't know how that's happened, but it looks like Reaps has been downed. Might not be able to get picked up with time ticking away. Looks like they're going to commit to holding down the fort without him, but ED and Pika have sprung into action. Souffle as well has just left Benji all alone. Poor Thatcher, low HP, no diffuser, and realistically, no chance. Direwolves, after losing 4 rounds in a row, they've come back to even the scoreline.
This is shaping up to be a very, very defender-sided theme park.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, imagine that. It's almost like we said that before we got into the game or something like that. That's crazy. Now we're in the game, though. I think it really has come down to these early to mid rounds, right? The early round has been quite challenging because of the way that the teams have been extending out their roam and denying the entries, right? Getting their way, getting their face in that cash door, that top dragon window, that type of thing, that's the first challenge to overcome. Not only that, but even once you get into the building, the mid-round problem solving on theme park is very, very challenging. Choosing exactly what walls you want to go open, what extra part of the map you want to take control of to plan out your execute is super difficult because you're very limited on options of walls that you can get open. You can't really play cutoffs, that type of thing, right? And so I think with the bans that have come through, this is very, very defender-sided.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of that Valk. We saw it, I think, 1 round. Now we're seeing Echo for a bit of information gathering from ED.
10 seconds left.
I'm keen to see whether this is going to be used aggressively, rogue style, or whether this is going to be more of a late round kind of activation for ED. I quite like seeing that mute. I can't quite tell whether most of that is for wall denial or drone denial.
Direwolves are going down to this Armory and Throne Room bomb site, and they're employing exactly the same philosophy that Mirage did when they played this bomb site. They've only got 1 player on the bomb site, babysitting just in case something really, really bad happens, and the rest of the Direwolves are shaping themselves around the entire map, looking for that total map control, trying to deny Mirage as much real estate as they possibly can.
Dexter's going to start gathering some info here, as Mirage are looking to take as much map control as possible. Like you said, the name of the game has been full map clears here, every round from both teams. And the first thing that they find will be Souffle playing top of the stairs with a shield to boot. He's been droned, he's got ADSs to protect him. Oh, for a second I thought that was a player, I got you baited. Gemini gone down, flashbangs go in, Souffle feeling that pressure, but he's still alive for now.
Souffle can tuck in his way behind that half-wall as well as the shield, and that's making this entry very frustrating for Mirage. That utility dump did come through, but both ADSs have been reactivated, and Souffle is still alive in his power position.
Struggling a little bit with dancing around the shield. He's done a bit of damage to Kento here. A flash goes out, he's full white. Doesn't reveal it. Kento does find 1 pick, but immediately traded back. Another flash goes through, and Souffle has been traded by Melted. So a good start here from Mirage. They win the exchange.
Not a bad start, but with a lot of time wasted off the board, they've only got a minute left, and the control that they've got is just inside of cash and just inside of control. Now they're going to drone out this top floor with the Gemini, and they're going to see that the rest of the Direwolves have fallen back and that they do indeed have that top floor control. If they want to make use of any vertical, there's actually not anything left though because that buck went down early.
Yeah, true. It's a big player to take out. I wonder whether there is wall denial or whether this Thermite... I say there is a single mute jammer. The thing is, that mute jammer is going to be pretty easy to shoot off from above, so I would expect the yellow wall to be vulnerable here if Mirage decides to go for that. It's going to be much harder to go for maintenance, though. I guess they do have... I completely forgot that they've got Dockerby with the secondary EMPs, so it's going to be possible if Benji can rotate, and there you go.
I think this is the right call, because if they wanted to go for yellow, they would also have to check the bathroom, and realistically, they don't have enough time for that. There's only 26 seconds, and the wall has only just been opened, and they haven't cleared Pika inside of Gong either.
Pika!
Oh, no!
Diffuser's down, and Pika is having a laugh. Hiding in Gong, but still numbers are even. Melted's been taken down by Jackie Wu, and Pika hunted down, not taken out. The hunter has become the hunted. Direwolves take the lead.
I think that round lived and died through that Dragon side kerfuffle that happened early on in the round, really. As soon as Mirage were able to deal with it, there was only 1 minute and 29 seconds left in the round. If you want to go for a yellow-sided take, like you said, that wall could have been vulnerable, but you can't do that until you check Drug Lab and until you check the bathroom. And you just don't have enough time to do that when all Mirage players have focused all their resources into only clearing the cache side of the map. They were forced to go for that maintenance wall. With only 25 seconds left, there's not enough time to get your drones in the bomb side either, and Direwolves playing a very disciplined game are able to claw back another defense round.
It's big for Direwolves. They really lost their mojo in the second half of the first half. They won 2 rounds. We had that rehost or tech pause, and then they lost 4 rounds in a row. Mirage really found their confidence, but since then Mirage has been unable to win a single attack round, and Direwolves have demonstrated they have solid defenses of 3 different bomb sites. They now return to offers initiation, and this was a fairly cut and dried affair, wasn't it? Reaps went massive. I believe a 3K on for the round.
For me, now that we've gotten to this second half of the map, it is possible for Direwolves to close this one out in regulation. I'm turning to Mirage to see what their problem-solving skills are going to be like, because looking for this total map control and getting ambitious with the attack is clearly not working. I wonder what they're going to change, bringing this Monty and bringing this Ying. And Ossa as well. That could be exciting.
Yeah, it's unusual. I don't think we've seen that. In fact, it's 2 shields, essentially, if you count the Ossa and the Monty together, plus the Ying. That's quite unusual. Kento's actually holding out a Candela. What's he playing at right now? He's put it away. Just toying with the idea. Oh my god, ED. Got a bit of a jump scare there as the hatch was opened above him.
Reaps, though, once again, early on the contest. He's got his own rotate that gets him to this power position in top of Dragon as well, so he's quite mobile in this position, but has a Monty that's giving constant information of his position. He's going to be joined by Pika, who's supporting him inside of the hallway as well, and Mirage, where are the rest of these players? It doesn't seem like there are too many right behind this Monty itself. Dexter is able to find a grenade, I can only assume from the ground below. And that's right. Oh, there we go. The info is coming out on the vertical. If this nade connects, that could be good.
Well, unfortunately for Dexter, Reaps isn't actually in cache right now, and so the floor is solid. Looks like Dexter's just watching for his flank. ED currently in throne. This Monty is kept at bay by a nice crossfire, not really able to do much other than call out information.
And really, the rest of Mirage do not have that much estate to support this Monty at the moment. Reaps is going to find really great timing on the utility, but is not able to connect the full shots onto the kill, and Kento's able to make his entry.
Wow!
Not even before taken down by these long lines of sight. Only 1 minute and 10 seconds left, and still ED's loitering his way down in the ground floor as well. There's just a lot of work here for Mirage to get done, and the Direwolves are slipping back into their shell.
Sketchy execute for Mirage, isn't it? It's so claustrophobic. So many players are taking a lot of damage now. Benji, 1 shield down to try and contest these long lines. Mahesi's also managed to take control of bathroom. ED flushed out from below, but he's got a C4. What's he going to be able to do with it? Oh no! What a frustration! ED fluffs the C4 throw, and on the back of that, Mirage get themselves in the game. It ends as a flawless round. What have we just witnessed?
Wow, I can't believe that is how that round ended up. As soon as they got that control inside of Cash and they're able to find the utility with the Yin Candles and the smokes, they went straight for that execute. They didn't dilly-dally like they did in the last 2 rounds. Great problem solving from Mirage through that mid-round, just saying, okay, guys, we really got to go now. We haven't done a whole lot until now, so it's the time to make this happen. And off the back of that Ying and the Monty pushing in, that's, I think, 4 smokes on the board between the 2 of them. That's exactly what you need to cover up all of Office, and the execute they went for was pretty successful.
Yeah, very unusual attack, I will say, from Mirage. That was... I said the word claustrophobic. That's just what I think of. How awkward is it to try and play all your 5 players within arm's reach of each other? You can't put 1 foot astray. But guess what, Mandy? We're at my favorite position now.
Are we?
Break point. I love it. 5-5. The next team to find a round gets 1 point on the standings.
The Direwolves are on the defense, and typically through this game, has been quite defender-sided, with the exception of that last round, which is quite explosive from Mirage on the execute. They are going to look to repeat one of these top floor bomb sites. It's not the initiation one, it's the bunk side one instead. And so Mirage have got a little bit more of the map to work through if they want to go for a cash side sweep.
Keen to see this early round. Who's going to win this opening exchange? Because it's been back and forth all game. It tends to feel like either Reaps goes down first or Reaps finds a multi-kill. That last round being somewhat of an exception.
This is a bit of a playstyle change, in my opinion, from the Direwolves. They're not doing this early contest on the Dragon side anymore because they've decided to pick the bunk side instead, and they know that Mirage have got more of the map to work through, right? They've just got these long lines of sight open, waiting for that sort of second phase in the attack, and that's where they're going to contest them.
Oh, Reaps struggling with the drones, feeling that pressure. ED's rotated over as well. No Monty this time around, but still that Ying persists. And in it goes, in Kento goes as well. It's Benji on the front. Oh, but the reinforcement's gone off. They might not realize though, I think Reaps has still managed to sit inside of Vault, holding on for just a moment longer.
Once again, they've locked out Jackie Wu, who I believe is stuck inside of Initiation now with all his Wamai charges. Not bad from the Direwolves. They've seen that the roam clear has started and is coming through. The time is being wasted, so why not close off those rotates, leave Jackie Wu in the dust, but then anticipate that the time is going to run out once again, as has the fashion of this game gone.
Oh, Jackie Wu's surely a dead man right now. Caught between a rock and a hard place with 5 hungry Mirage players, but Kento avidly watches for Reaps and takes him down. Mirage are poised to get this advantage 5v3. They do it. Mahesi to take down Jackie Wu. Now there's a minute left for them to execute on the site.
Direwolves have got a bit of a hole in their plan, and that is the rotate just at the top of Narnia. It's giving Mirage an in to cut off this hallway if they need to. Now Edie is forced to train his gun on it.
Iruni gate cleared. Potential for the EMP to come through and a breach on the site. Pika not really in a position to go for the juggle here. And I believe he is aware that that breach is going to get opened. Oh, this is such a tough position. Souffle down below does find Kento. I don't actually know that wasn't below. I honestly couldn't tell you what angle that was. Through the drone hole, perhaps? If so, that's disgusting. ED! What have you managed to do here? He's gone for a huge flank. And just like that, Direwolves might be able to find match point. Benji and Melted, desperate, destitute. Just 2 of them. 10 seconds remaining. It's a desperate attempt now. Benji dropping down, but he's all alone and he is done for. Direwolves match point.
ED regressing into waiting there was instrumental in Direwolves being able to win out that round. As soon as Mirage started to go for the wall, ED knew that his teammates on the site would be in trouble, and that was the timing that he needed to get back into that attacking backline and find those picks. It was perfect timing for that. Souffle, the turret of the team, is just able to hunker down the back, goes, don't worry guys, just worry about the front. Just worry about taking the fights there. I've got your back. And as a result, Direwolves claw that one back. Defender-sided, it really is in every single way this match has been.
Certainly has been. Wow, Souffle and Pika have really stepped into it, haven't they? Nutty players, both of them, both cracking double digits, the only ones in the server to do so. And Mandy, we find ourselves with Direwolves getting their first points of the tournament so far, and a shot at the full 3 out of this one. What are you thinking, Mandy? Is Mirage likely to push overtime?
It's tough. Direwolves have got one more defending round. I think I alluded to this earlier. They could close out in regulation just because of how defender-sided this entire series has been. Souffle, I really want to point out, I don't think we've spoke about him a lot this game. The spotlight's been a lot on Reaps and his entries, but he's a quiet achiever. Souffle is that player on the Direwolves that just does what you need to do, what you need him to do. And for that particular round, that was just hold the back of the site and make sure that ED does not die on the smoke. And that was pretty much it, right? Every single round, Souffle has been really instrumental in just allowing Direwolves to be where they need to be and to let his teammates do their job without being backstabbed. And I think it's so important in this particular series in Theme Park.
Now the pressure lies squarely on Mirage's shoulders. Stakes are high.
10 seconds to go.
They've already lost one game in overtime. They only have a single point on the standings. If they lose this game, I think most people would expect that they will finish last in the group. The only team they won't have faced in their group will be FaZe. And I think a lot of people are looking at FaZe as behemoth team, one of the favorites in the tournament. Mirage need to push overtime here.
So interesting idea from Direwolves. They actually brought the mirror, but they're using the mirror on the roam instead. They've got the first one, I believe, is on that office wall on the rotate, facing in for that cash entry, and anticipating that Mirage, time and time again, they've always done the same thing, will go for a cash-sided push. Who would have thunk it? It's supported by Souffle as well, who's got long lines of sight inside of office and inside of the hallway. And I don't mind this from the Direwolves. They've read into the fact that Mirage don't really know how to change their push. They're only going to do one thing, and so why not dedicate an entire mirror to it? It's a good idea.
Good mid-game adaptations. Mirage here pushing forward. It's Dexter. He's in a great position here, isn't he? All the way up in initiation and ready to backstab. What a far roam. With so much util offside. Melted spots a bit of it. Eventually his Twitch drone is taken down, however, and Mirage seems somewhat stalled.
It's really tough because Dexter is about to be met by that mirror. We're now inside of office.
Hang on a second. Look at this from Souffle. He's on for the flank. He's just gone straight past most of the attackers. Dexter's found a kill, but Souffle eventually does make his presence known. He goes in through office, and now he's really feeling that pressure. He's going to back on out all the way downstairs to live and to fight another day.
Really well played from Souffle to find that timing going through bathroom, knowing that the rest of the Mirage players have their eyes focused on this initiation side. We can see the wall being opened by Mahesi, that's opened their way inside of Bunk. But really, once again, the time is ticking away. We say this over and over and over again in this series. Souffle is still elusive inside of mains, and there's a C4 to connect from below onto Melted, and the man advantage even further for the Direwolves.
You know what, man? Like, you would not be remiss for thinking that this is an upstairs defense with just how much presence there has been on the top floor. And Direwolves have found 2 kills out of it. Now it's desperation for Mirage. Direwolves could legit just 4-stack on site and probably win this round out with just 40 seconds left. Things look dire for Mirage.
Dex will be his way inside of Arcade, trying to take the gunfight onto the player inside the drug lab. That's Reaps on the other side, on the alibi, that 1.5x license that he's been given. 2 or 3 players now collapsing on his position. The flashbangs do go out, and Dexter, the first one in, he's able to connect the shots and take down Reaps.
Big player to take down, but guess what? 20 seconds left. No hard breach enabled on the site. Mirage have to go big, and they have to go now. Direwolves on the cusp of this first win. They're going to make it work. It's Edie and Souffle both. Pika goes down. Mahesi is not going to get it done. There's no chance that defuse is going down. Mirage have been taken down, and Direwolves find their first win of the major.
And I believe not just their first win of the major, but I think their first win internationally, I believe. Or do they have a couple in Charlotte as well? Are you sure? Oh, that was.
I'm not sure. No, that's why I said I think so.
You think so? Okay. Well, for Direwolves, that's a big result for what was a very, very long series. Not just in the pauses and in the delays and the momentum, but in the game itself. Every single round went to what felt like the full 3 minutes, and the Direwolves out-staminaed Mirage on every single defense. And yeah, I just think they played that super well. They were very disciplined, they were very patient, and that's what it took to win out that series.
People often say a BO1 is a sprint, but that game surely felt like a marathon. We'll break it down in just a few moments. What a game we were treated to between Direwolves and Mirage on Theme Park. It was quite a long one, and it was quite a defender-sided one. Direwolves just pulling themselves over the finishing line. I got to admit, Mandy, after we had that bit of a tech pause when Direwolves were 2-0 up, Mirage found 4 rounds in a row. I was actually leaning towards the NA team. I thought that this was going to be Mirage moving into their attack with a bit of confidence. Direwolves showed that they are here to play.
Absolutely. It ended up being super defender-sided. As soon as Direwolves went over onto that defense, it was a whole other beast. Mirage just couldn't find their way in through the mid-round. They faced the same adversities that the Direwolves did once they swapped over, and it happened to be that because that swap came over and the Direwolves were on the defense, they could close it out in regulation. And I think I got it wrong. It's actually Direwolves' second win ever on LAN, not first win.
First regulation win.
First regulation win.
So Direwolves managed to beat Team 1 in overtime and 8-7 in Charlotte. But they were also in the group, which only had 3 teams because Elevate couldn't get visas to go. So there you go. Take that with a grain of salt as well. It's also the first time that Direwolves are at a major where they actually have 4 teams in their group. So huzzah for them. But yeah, a huge win for this Taiwanese team. They have been working hard for this, and they certainly worked hard in that game. It was a rough slog, and Mirage really put their best foot forward.
They absolutely did. Pretty interesting game of Theme Park. You don't normally see Theme Park be so widely contested, I think, throughout the map in the way that both of these teams employed the exact same philosophy. It felt like a mirror image of each other once that side swap came through. Both of them faced the same adversities on the attack as well. It felt like a game of attrition, really, through the mid-round. Whoever won out those picks and those trades would eventually claw it out, and it just happened to be that the problem solving is very hard for the attack.
Yeah, and to be fair, they gave it a really solid crack. We had a lot of pocket picks, a lot of Monty, Ossa, Ying action, but let's reflect on the match summary. Quite a game. Huge performances, particularly from Soufflé and Pika, both of them managing to pop double digits. Reaps as well, a funny player. He was either dead first or he got like a 3K. That's what it felt like. He was the first one to really show an impressive performance. I think he got 9 kills pretty early on, and yet he kept just dying early.
Something I want to point out is just Soufflé, once again. The rock of Direwolves. Just when I spoke to Direwolves, the way they describe Soufflé in his role is that when the front line goes down, Soufflé is there to clean up whatever needs to be done. And he's there to do the dirty work for them. And I think he's such a quiet achiever on this team that he really needs this time in the spotlight, because what he's able to do for them, not just on the attack, but on the defense, playing in, like, going back and forth between the front line and the back line is such a valuable role for the Direwolves to have and to tie their team together.
Yeah, great show from Direwolves. I know people who have been watching their campaign throughout the year will be excited to see them get a solid win, their first win of the major. Do you think it's going to be their only win of the major? Because I am kind of confident after that one.
I'm optimistic. I think that Direwolves, they've got a good showing. Their team structure is really great, and I think the way they've progressed throughout the year is ready for these international LAN events. Their circumstances, of course, very hard, but I wouldn't count them out just yet.
It certainly wasn't without its hiccups. As we look at the group's results, spoiler alert, if you haven't been tuning into the A stream, it looks like Wolves took 3 points out of that game. I'm trying to do my maths right now. So Wolves had gone overtime against Mirage, right? So I guess I did accidentally spoil it when production...
You did!
So production hadn't, like, the game hadn't actually happened. Production...
You did.
I think production was trying to tell me that Wolves versus FaZe was going on, and I asked them which team had won, and I think I misunderstood the answer. The game was still going, but I thought Wolves had won, and turns out I was right. So
Predicting the future.
we're gonna. I'm gonna keep asking production for their predictions, and perhaps we'll start taking that as gospel. Yeah. So wow, that's a pretty big deal, right?
It is.
And also that kind of re-puts into perspective both of the previous games we've had, right? In fact, does that mean that every team has not every team's had a win in this group because Paul Mirage hasn't, but every team does have a point in this group.
Every team has a point in this group.
That's at least something.
I think what that says is that this group is way more competitive
Slept on.
than what we thought it was going to be.
super
Because
slept
when
on.
we first started our pre-show together, we started talking about when Group D, that one's decisive. Wolves and FaZe are going to make it, but actually, this is a really tight group. You go to overtime between Wolves and Mirage, and they have a very exciting series just then. It's looking good. It's looking
huge.
exciting.
It's huge. I mean, we still have more games to go in the first round robin, but when it comes to those rematches, things are going to get spicy. But we're getting a spicy match coming right up. It's a Brazil versus Europe derby. It is Team Liquid versus Heroic, so stick around on the B stream.